Bob Weigel again. Hi, I'm going to continue our series here, Logical Theology 101. We're going to discuss a few things relating to some stories tonight. A long time ago, a friend and I felt I had to go out door-to-door witnessing. Now you say, oh, he's one of those freaks, you know. But, you know, I haven't done that a lot, but I felt particularly led this night. And second door we hit this guy who was a university professor that I had just had, and he was just about to die. He didn't know that, but he had a week or two to live. I mean, he just died all of a sudden. Older guy, but Fred Fox was a guy in my class. I'd had the impression he's kind of, you know, more into a new agey kind of thought, and he went to some thing called the church, which supported him in that, basically, and he sat there in the pew and heard sermons for years, and he said the pastor had just done a sermon on the love of God, and he says, I'm still trying to get a grasp on that concept. And I'm thinking to myself, you're about to croak, dude. You know, how long do you think you got to get a grasp on that context here on earth? You know, and sadly he did right after that. But you know, he didn't have any signs of real ailing health. He was just an older guy, and you know, you never know. You could be a young guy, and the next day you're gone. You know, so you want to really not put off those kind of things, because you know, I know God put us here to learn to experience a relationship with Him. And if we don't do that here, well, you know, we develop a character here, and if we push away His Spirit, it's a bad thing. You know, we develop a character which is independent, and then we lose our flesh that we lived everything around, and where are you then? You know, you've got no flesh, and that's what you live for, so enjoy eternity, whatever it is, you know, for you. And don't think it's going to be too good, because that's what you live for, and it's gone, baby! So, anyway, according to what the Bible says, if you believe that, and we'll discuss more about why you maybe should believe the Bible in this series, but you look at the odds, and you know, the whole earth perished in the flood except for one family, and there was only evil all of the time. People's hearts were so completely polarized on evil, and you know, they probably got along fine in society and everything, but you know, all it was doing is conditioning people to live their life for themselves, and then they die, and what are they left with? That's evil. It's deceiving people. It's making them put their trust in something that's going to perish and fade away. And God sees the context of that. But anyway, you follow me through this, and you just see if you don't agree at the end, okay? And so you might be considering, what kind of proof do I have of these things? Well, I have an experience, and that's no good for you until you experience that too. So, you know, what you might consider is evidence. And when some people say, well, there is no evidence, and they're really meaning there is no proof. You know, proof, for instance, we shared about the guy the other day who said he just wanted some good, solid historical evidence for the resurrection, and I said, what can I give you? You know, what do you want, a videotape, or, you know, some, you know, we got 500 witnesses, you know, in history who supposedly saw Jesus resurrected. And I really, considering it was something that the government wanted to suppress, because the government wants control. They don't want people to put trust in God. They want people to put trust in them. And so anything like that's going to get suppressed in any government that's ever been in history, and you know that. So, you know, you're not going to find the local historian documenting it and say, today Jesus was raised up in clouds before 500 witnesses outside of town. You know, it ain't going to happen. They're going to suppress the information. They're going to tell people, oh, no, it was just an optical illusion. It was a weather balloon. Anyway, he's an unidentified flying object. Yeah. Another Larry Norman song. You check out my Larry Norman tribute there if you didn't see that already. But a really amazing artist who passed away last week. Okay, so, you know, evidence is something that, you know, we find all kinds of evidence. You want to check out a video called Exodus Revealed. You talk about evidence. You know, there are chariot ruins littering the bottom of the Gulf of Aqaba, and it's been taped, you know, through a submersible camera, and by independent researchers who came in and found the same thing that was reported by Ron Wyatt, and they found a gold-plated wheel down there and photographed that, and it was kind of just glazed under the surface there, and I'm sure if they did some digging down there they'd find a lot more stuff, but it's already a lot of stuff, and it's scattered all over the place. And some atheist was telling me, oh yeah, it's just some ship was sinking and they were throwing the chariots off in a storm. It's only 6 miles wide. Why are they going to do that? That's ridiculous. Why would they be carrying chariots up the Gulf of Aqaba anyway? They would just drive them. The whole theory is so ludicrous. It violates the history that we know about that region. Nobody would have been taking that many chariots on a boat up the Gulf of Aqaba. So you know how they got there. And anyway, so we talk about evidence, and I can't prove that's how they got there. There's no mechanism to prove anything that old. I can't prove that George Washington lived. We can see a lot of documents and a lot of claims that he did. But who knows? Maybe these people just made that all up to create a nationalistic image of, some kind to ally us all in this country. But I don't think so. That's not real likely, and I'd be really stupid if I proposed that theory. I'd look like an idiot. And I think people look like an idiot when they propose theories that Jesus never existed and stuff like that. He's one of the most documented people in history. In that, as far as individuals from that era, I don't think anybody certainly exceeds Jesus in the amount of information that we have that correlates to itself. And so, when we look at evidence, we're looking at all kinds of stuff. We're looking at, archaeology. So many things in the Bible have been found. Even in that same video you'll find the rock that poured forth water, this huge gash in this rock where this smooth surface is just sticking up out of nowhere there. And if that ain't it, what is it? I mean, it's just such an unusual feature, and it's just right in the spot that it should be in. And then you go on, you find the real Mount Sinai, and it's got a burned top, and the locals have it fenced off because they don't want anybody to get in there and find out that Israel's history is valid. They want people to keep believing what's ridiculous, that they made up the whole thing. and of course, they don't have any real history. They were too dumb to keep any real history. It's so anti-Semitic. It's amazing to me that people don't see that. Yet they want to believe so badly that there is no God, they're willing to just say, oh, all these people were idiots, and I'm the only smart one. So anyway, proof is something, basically that's going to be experience. Each person has to experience proof. You can't rely on someone else for proof, because people lie, and people even, make fraudulent reports, they edit videos, all kinds of things could happen. You can't consider that proof, absolute proof. The word is very strong, but you can consider it evidence that demands some kind of reconciliation with your idea of reality. And sometimes the evidence is so strong and compelling that a person just is not in their right mind if they don't believe it. So anyway, that's what we're going to begin moving on to here, is talking about various evidences, and some of those evidences will be so strong you will see that there simply isn't any other reasonable explanation, and the odds of it not being that way when you assess the statistical picture that is there are just out of this world. It's not even reasonable. No scientist would say, that can't be, or that isn't, when they see that that odds figure. We're talking things in the order 10 to the 50th to 10 to a Google in there, and it just, doesn't happen, even on a bad day for me. I've shown people that I can violate 1 in 15,000 odds or better on a day, but I know His hand is in that, and I can have that bad of luck just so somebody can get a good laugh, or that they can see that gambling is not a good idea. Anyway, Bob Weigel here. We'll see you next time on Logical Theology 101.